Well, hey there, crypto friends. Thanks again for joining me. Today I have a special guest on the channel for an interview. Please welcome Andrew Stanger from the Reality Cards project.
Thank you much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining me. And, we were just talking a little bit before we got started here, how this is a pretty unique project and something that I think that people are going to be interested in because it's really doing something that we have not seen in the NFT scene just yet. We've seen some sort of style of prediction markets that this your kind of project NFT project enables, but not in this style. But before we jump into that, because that's a little teaser, because people like they like this kind of like little nugget here, so they know that something interesting is coming that they've never heard about before. But I want to hear just a little bit about you and yourself and how you got here with this project, Reality Cards.
Sure, man. So like I said, my name's Andrew Stanger. I'm from the UK. And my journey really started back in 2015, which is when I first read the Bitcoin white paper and sort of went very, very quickly, a very deep dive into crypto, as happens to all of us. At the time, I was a financial analyst at a big four company in the city of London, just down the road from where I am now, so completely different field. And it's safe to say that I completely fell in love with the scene. And in particular, I was absolutely fascinated with prediction markets. So my first ever ICO was actually Augur, which was back in 2015. I put in 1 Bitcoin on that, which I'm not actually sure if that was a good trade, but that's an entirely different story. The reason was so fascinated by this is the potential of having a truly global and permissioned prediction market. So every other prediction market prior to Augur has been within a certain jurisdiction. You have to be within a certain country to play. Whereas once you completely unlock that and it's truly global, then it really unlocks the world's information and allows the prediction market to actually make better predictions, which is kind of what they're all about, to be honest. So I was a big fan of that and following that closely. However, I think it's a great project in terms of the engineering is absolutely marvelous. The problems were really in the UX and the usability. And so I got about thinking, is there a way to do this in the Web3 Ethereum space in a fundamentally different way? And I just set to researching it. I came across NFTs, and I just cut a long story short, I found a way after a lot of back and forth and a lot of journaling to combine a prediction market with an NFT marketplace in what I think is a completely unique way. And I'll talk a bit more about that in a bit. But yeah, the story was that at the time, I was still employed as a finance guy, didn't know how to build it. So quit my job and I did a Solidity bootcamp to learn how to build this. And one thing led to another, and now we are, a team of 12, just about to launch our open beta. So it's really, really exciting for me. This is an absolute dream come true. It really is the culmination of many years of effort at this point. So yeah, we're very optimistic.
Wow, that's actually a pretty interesting story that, you were so confident in this and so interested in this particular area of cryptocurrency, prediction markets. And yeah, Augur was definitely one of the first ones doing it. And you're right, the UI UX definitely could use some help. I mean, the way it functions is great, but also marketing side of it too. I feel like they've never really been very strong on that. But, the fact that you had such a conviction for this and went out and learned Solidity, which I'll tell you is not the easiest thing to do. A lot of people don't understand, in particular for Ethereum, it's built on Solidity, which is kind of a proprietary type of coding language just for Ethereum. One of the roadblocks of building on Ethereum, come on guys, you could have just made it JavaScript, enabled and you had an SDK for Java. But no. Okay, Solidity is. But learning that, I mean, that's really taking a step in a really big direction. And obviously now you have a team that's working on those things. But I applaud you for that because that's not an easy thing to do.
Thanks very much indeed. Yeah, it took a lot of effort. Well, not effort's wrong word. It took a lot of guts to leave a very well-paid, respectable job to just not be paid at all for a long period of time. But I really, really felt so strongly about this, and in particular, this idea. I was like, I couldn't understand why no one else had done this yet. I was like, someone's going to do this at any moment. I was really tense that someone was going to beat to the punch. So as soon as I had the opportunity, I then started working on it. And at this point, that we still have, touch wood, we are still the only people on Earth trying to build what we're going to build. So yeah, we're still in a very, very confident place.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant that you decided to work with NFTs and go that direction. What was the first NFT that you saw, or NFT project that really got you thinking oh, this is cool?
Yeah, so the answer to that is actually a project called This Artwork is Always on Sale. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No.
So basically, it's one of the OG NFT projects. And the concept is it's a single bit of NFT art, but it is always on sale. And the owner chooses whatever price to offer it to a seller, and they have to pay a tax as a percentage of that price to the owner to the artist. So this is actually something called a Harburger tax mechanic, but I won't go into those details. And the idea is that anyone at any time can come and buy the artwork off that user, and by paying the price they set and then set a new price. So that sounded a little bit esoteric, and I apologize, but I absolutely love this project. Not only was it bringing in NFTs in a new way, but it was combining it with this model called Harburger taxes, which are really, and again, I'm not going to go into specifics of that, but they are really exciting and something I've been interested in a while, and it was fantastic to see implemented in Ethereum. And specifically, this project was actually, Reality Cards was actually forked from this project. So it's safe to say that this was a major inspiration. You have this concept of something being always on sale, which won't make sense until I describe how reality cards work. So I'll get to that at some point. I'll put this all in some more context. But that was the origin. So I would say that was the first project I came across.
Interesting. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, now I think we're there in that story. We now tell us about reality cards. Now we know how you got to here, and then with this concept, but lay it out for everybody out there of why this is so unique, and this is something we have not seen in the industry thus far, in NFTs in general, but really industry wide. So lay it out how it works, because this is a very interesting model. It's not the way people would think that a prediction market or a usage of NFTs would go.
Right. So what is reality cards? Yeah. Reality Cards is the coolest NFT project out there, okay? But that's a given. So what actually is going on here, it is a platform for turning real-world events into collectible, beautiful, scarce NFTs. It doesn't matter what the event is, whether it's Ethereum flipping Bitcoin, whether it's Kanye West being elected president of the USA. Reality Cards is a tool to turn this real-world event into something magical. And the way it does this is by adding a prediction market on top of an NFT marketplace. So we started with an NFT marketplace and adding a prediction market on top. And the actual specifics of this are that each outcome in an event is an NFT. So let's say the event is who is going to win the US election, the next US election. You've got Kanye West versus Dwayne Johnson. Yeah. Kanye West is a NFT. Dwayne Johnson is another NFT, okay? There's only one NFT per outcome, which means only one person at a time can own it. If you think, say, Kanye West is going to win, you have to rent the Kanye West NFT or card. Let's say I'm paying $100 a day to rent this. And then someone else may pay $100 a day to rent the Dwayne Johnson card. All of that rent goes into the pot, and at the end of the event, the money in the pot is shared among everyone who ever owned the outcome in proportion to how long they've owned it. And it's quite important that I get this across. So Reality Cards is the only prediction market on Earth where it does not matter how much you bet. All that matters is how long you owned the outcome for. So let's just use an example. Let's say the pot at the end was $100,000. The event lasted 1 month. I owned Kanye West for 2 weeks out of a month. I would receive half of that $100,000 as winnings. Now, your viewers are probably thinking, well, I've missed out a crucial detail. So we've only got one NFT per outcome. What if more than one person wants to own the NFT?
Yeah.
And this is where we've taken the modified Harburger tax mechanic. Basically, if someone is currently renting a card, you can take it off them like that by simply paying a higher price. So let's say someone else is paying $100 a day. I can pay $200 a day, and I will immediately become the new owner of that. The point being is that this is all about ownership time. All that matters is how long you own the outcome. And again, and because only one person can own it, we can actually say on the outcome at each time, this person owns it, which allows us to properly gamify it. So a lot of other prediction markets and NFT platforms, they have gamification mechanics, but they're kind of tacked in like a little bit, if I do say so myself. Whereas with Reality Cards, it's very much built in because users have to compete with each other. And this is what we see. We see users constantly, back and forth in order to be the owner of the outcome. So basically, to repeat, we've added a prediction market to an NFT marketplace The result being that it doesn't actually matter how much you bet. It's the only prediction market on earth where this is true. All that matters is how long you own the outcome. And the flip side of this, viewing it more as a NFT marketplace, is that you can actually get paid to collect beautiful, scarce NFTs. If you correctly predict the outcome, not only will you keep that NFT representing, say, Kanye West being president, but you will also get a bunch of winnings for correctly predicting it.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it is the ultimate game. It's like a collection of beautiful NFTs. And if you guess correctly what the outcome is, you will get paid. So that is a brief description of how it works.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that is, the way you've come up with this in this system is something, like I said, so unique that I've not seen in the NFT industry. And, I like the fact that, this card is, like I said, you're essentially renting it until the prediction is done, and anybody can come and snap that card up. They just got to pay a little bit more than what you're paying per day for that, and that's essentially what you're betting on it. So if you decide, hey, I'm going to bet, I only have a budget of $1,000, so I can probably own this $100 card for 10 days, and as long as no one outbids me, then I'll end up getting 10 days worth of that predictions pot or winnings at the end.
Yes.
So it's definitely, like, you got to think about, like, and then if your strategy is like, well, what happens if no one buys it and then I'm stuck for 2 weeks, something. So there's also a lot of strategy, I think, in there too, of like, maximizing your profits and then also deciding, well, is this something I do want to own long term? Am I confident enough in my prediction that I think this one is going to be the winner, and then I actually get to own the NFT at the end too, which would be a bonus because you're not only getting the winnings, like you said, but you're also getting a sweet NFT, and the loser gets no NFT. They're getting nothing, right? They don't get to keep the losing NFT, right?
So to be clear, clarification on that, the loser actually does get to keep
they do.
The NFT as well.
So no matter what, whoever ends up with the NFT at the end, when the prediction closes, they get it win or loss.
Oh, apologies. No, the clarification there is it's the longest owner gets to keep the NFT.
Oh, the longest
so it doesn't matter who owns it right
owner.
at the
Okay,
end.
it's not
if
who
it was
owns
just
it
the person right at the end, then it would be very easily gained by just
okay, I was going to say
very high
okay.
gas cost right at the end. But that's the thing. So we have the site has a very clear leaderboard, and people are competing to be that #1 spot at the top. Okay? They want to own it the longest. And you mentioned strategy. An interesting thing here is the strategy for reality cards is very simple. Get in when the cards are really, really, really cheap.
Right at the beginning.
So right at the start of an event, when there's no pot to be, there's no money to be won, that's when the cards are at their cheapest. And this is a really powerful incentive. So other prediction markets on Ethereum and everywhere have had problems with liquidity. So the idea is at the start of an event, there's no money to be won. There's no point getting involved because there's nothing to win. Okay, reality cards completely solves this issue by, even when there's no money to be won, there's a very strong incentive to start putting money into the pot
to get the
NFT
NFT
right at the start, where you can rent it for, say, $1 a day. Like, that's the cheapest in the system. You can do it, and then that starts the ball rolling, and then other people will start adding liquidity.
Yeah.
So yes, this mechanic makes the strategy very much different, but it's also a powerful liquidity incentivization tool.
Definitely, and I 100% agree. So when it comes to these predictions, how are those being created on the platform? Are they being created by your team, and then they're the ones that are creating the NFT, the look of it, right? Because there's a graphical element there that people, it has to be something like, oh, that's a cool NFT, I want that one. So you guys are creating these predictions, right?
Excellent question. So the way it works now is that we have been working with our very early community members of the artists that have joined our community. We've given them a chance to create art for these events. So the way it works is that we are actually creating the events, but our early community members, we've been giving them the opportunity to create the art itself. And we're pretty confident, man, that it's going to be quite a big deal one day to be like an artist on reality cards, which is why we wanted to reward our early community members with this opportunity. So we are then creating the event, but in the long run, this is going to be fully decentralized. Basically, any NFT artist can come along and create an event. They just set the title, they set the time that it starts, the time that it ends, they upload their artwork, they press submit, and bam, it's on reality cards. And in that way, and this is the exciting thing, that is the way in which reality cards functions as an NFT marketplace. So an artist can drop their art on reality cards. And the reason they do that isn't just eternal glory. It's the fact that they will actually get a share of the total bets made. So instead of you drop your art on, say, OpenSea or Rebel or whatever, and you just get whatever that someone paid for it, this is fundamentally different. Is that the more money that goes on towards your event, the higher your returns will be. So this is a completely different approach for artists, but we do see this very much as being a primary marketplace where users will come along and artists will come along and drop their artwork. And in the long run, we will fully decentralize that process and allow token holders, when that exists, it doesn't exist yet, to curate this and make sure only like high quality artists add to the platform.
Yeah, no, that's a great concept. I love the decentralized nature of being able to submit events and artwork to the platform, because that's something I think is obviously when you talk about scale and a product scaling, that's a pretty big thing and concern here with a decentralized project was the incentivization for the community to continue to submit these things, to be doing artwork, and that's a great model of doing it. Like, hey, you can be kind of more of a production artist and do cool work that is attached to these specific events, and that's a whole nother avenue of revenue for people who are interested in in these types of things. So I think that's a pretty interesting concept there too.
That's
great
the plan. Exactly. And the idea is that this is an opportunity for artists like to create specific kind of art. Not anything flies on reality cards. It's art representing something that's going to happen in the future.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. It's a totally different concept. Right now, what we're seeing is it's all these generative avatars or something cool that they thought of. It's created, but this is like production focused, which is cool.
Yeah, this might be a bit harsh and unfair, but sort of like generic. The other, that's not quite fair. But the point is, the other NFT like profile pic projects, whatever, they don't really connect to the real world. Okay, so that's what reality cards brings. Is it really connects? I like to feel like it gives these NFTs like a tangible meaning. Okay, it actually means something because these cards represent something in the real world. And this, again, for our users, makes them very unique because it's a way of saying, I was there when this happened. I was there when Kanye West became elected US president. And to prove it, I own the Kanye West NFT.
You mean The Rock. The Rock would clearly win in that duel. I mean, come on, man. You got Dwayne Johnson versus Kanye. Like, no one's going to vote for Kanye, man.
We will find out in 2 years' time.
I love it.
So yeah, that's really... So it is like, again, not anything goes in reality cards, but it is the art representing something that's going to happen in the future. And so this really is the proposition for artists. They can make a great return, but also, they can be among the very, very first few artists to actually contribute to us. And the way I like to think of it is, imagine CryptoPunks, and every single CryptoPunk was made by a different artist. And you could go back in time and have an opportunity to do that. So every single event on reality cards is made by a different artist. And this is an opportunity for artists to actually submit and be at the ground floor and create an event and create their NFTs, which will forever be known as among the first ever NFTs on reality cards.
Brilliant. Well, hey, Andrew, thanks so much for joining us here and giving us a breakdown of reality cards and your very unique NFT marketplace prediction system here. I do think there's a great opportunity here for artists and for NFT enthusiasts to really get on board and have a lot of fun with this. Before we go, is there any last few things you want to share with any of our audience here that we might want to know or avenues to be able to reach you?
A couple of things. So please try out beta.realitycards.io, and please do join our Discord, which is www.realitycards.io/Discord. And something else that I want to mention is that we very recently launched our open beta. So we've had a closed beta for some time, and we've now taken the gates off. Anyone can play with the platform, and we are going to be adding $20,000 a month, topping up these events, which will make it even easier than it was before to actually win money. So the idea is that we are, as a team, putting $20,000 on the line for these events, which will really boost your winnings. So I have to say, it's going to be pretty easy to make a healthy profit on reality cards. So that's the message I wanted to send. Please just try it out. Awesome. beta.realitycards.io.
Great. Yeah, we'll make sure we put all the links in the description there. And so you guys go check it out. Check out the beta, get some of that early money and those fundings there. And then, continue to make those great predictions. And maybe you end up with the pot and you're the winner of the NFTs too. That's what we're all about. So Andrew, thanks again for joining us here. That's all we have for today, folks. Until next time, stash that crypto, friends.